We're doing live on Facebook.
Are we going to be live right now?
Yeah, is that all right?
I love it.
All right.
Makes me happy.
Why not? So we're doing a little broadcast.
I might just flex. I might just come on flexing.
I would. I totally would.
It's the only way to do it.
So it's coming. The progress bar is happening.
Ooh, it says we're streaming live now on the Facebook.
We're progressing. We're progressing. Something good is happening.
Hello, Mark Zuckerberg. Good to see you.
Bar is happening. Look at this. I can never, so it always opens a browser. I always start yakking at myself. I don't know. Anyway, we're here with David Siteman Garland, the famous and legendary DSG. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I was just looking at this video. I feel like, by the way, 2 Davids, 1 video, always fun. And I also love how I have the chandelier literally coming out of my head right now in this video. I think it just adds to it, you know?
I think it does. I think it does. And we are here talking about the awesome power and magic of online courses.
Woo! Yes.
I set up a little URL so people know, and it's in the description, so you can click on it. Get ready. It's Webinar with David. Webinarwithdavid.com. Wednesday the 25th. That's 8 days. We're giving you 8 days notice to clear your calendar, stop whatever it is that you're doing, join David Siteman Garland and me for the 5 secrets. 5 secrets to online course success.
You have to whisper.
So I think I want to throw this over to you in a moment here, my friend, but you changed my life. I think we just have to say that right up front. You are my mentor. You are my Sherpa when it comes to all things online course. And, I'm always the guy who is late to the mentors. I mean, seriously, and you know this story because we've talked about it before. I was doing these programs live-led.
Right.
Live-led group coaching. And then you and I meet in 2008. You hadn't done the course thing yet. And, you were still young and had funny hair and the whole thing.
I did have very funny hair back there, yeah.
And then your business evolved to this amazing level. And then we reconnect in 2013, 2014. And I'm like, online courses. That's the key to the leverage. That's the key to the sales. That's the key to the scalability. That's the key to doing all kinds of other things. And literally since 2013, 2014, I have reconfigured my entire business and my entire revenue generating empire around online courses. And you are the guy to thank.
Well, I'm all warm and fuzzy over here, D. But seriously, I mean, I love hearing that because what's interesting about it, I know we're going to talk about a lot of different things today, but like if you look at, for example, the people that are following you, Newman Nation, as we call them, right? We got a lot of speakers. We've got a lot of aspiring speakers, got a lot of authors, experts, coaches, consultants, things like that. And it's funny because those are the people, if I were to go in the course tree and pluck some people down that would be best positioned for online courses, it's that crowd, it's your crowd. Because what's interesting, if you look at it, and this is what happened with you, David, is that if you look at someone that has an expertise, right? And I don't care if it's teaching a cat how to do a backflip or if it's, how to grow peaches, okay? The point is, if you've got an expertise, how can you leverage that into a business, right? How can you leverage that into a business? Well, what's one thing you could do, David? Throw something out, not a course, something else.
You could have like a year-long membership.
Okay, so you got a year-long membership. You could have, let's go completely the opposite end of the spectrum. You could coach individuals one at a time, okay? You sit there, you go, here's the tree, we're gonna grow the peach. Here's the cat, it's doing the backflip, okay? Then what do? You want a little more leverage. You say, okay, you know what, that's great, but how many people can you really help? And how time-consuming is it? And how much money can you really make as a business for that? You can only coach so many people. So you say, okay, you know what? I'm going to take it to the next level. I'm going to do groups of 10. We're all going to line them all up with their peach trees. We're going to line them all up with the cats, and we're going to teach this together. Okay, right? Good. A little bit more leverage, a little bit more thing, but still, how many people can you do? You're getting better now, but you're not quite there, okay? Then if you keep escalating, one of the things that is great, and you do this too, and it's for various different reasons, then the cat conference calls and puts you on stage, and there you are. You're now speaking at the cat conference, or the peach conference, right? As it may be. So you're starting to kind of leverage up these things over time, right? But what online courses are doing for you is it's really the ultimate leverage, right? More than anything you possibly do, because it's something that you record once. And of course you could update it. I'm not saying that you just record it, it's in the same thing for the next 15 years, but you record it once. And now you're taking all these things that you would coach people one-on-one, all these things that you were doing group coaching. And I'm not saying to replace your speaking or anything, but something that now you have on the back end of your speaking. Or let's just say you speak too much and you want to speak a little bit less. You want to be a little bit less on the road or whatever it might be. Great opportunity for that. So you're taking it. It's the ultimate power of leverage of teaching your expertise.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And it's funny. I have speakers that come to me and they say, to your point, just the last point that you made, you want to be speaking less and traveling less. So a guy comes to me and says, listen, dude, I'm doing 80 gigs a year and I need to get off the hamster wheel. I got young kids at home. I'm not spending time with my kids. I'm not spending time with my wife. And I said, good news, bad news. The good news is we can totally fix that problem. The bad news is you should have contacted me about 12 months ago. Because you're not going to turn it on. You're not going to replace 40 of those speaking gigs tomorrow.
Sure.
Right? You need to build the investable opportunity. You have to build the asset of the course. You have to market the course. You have to do all of the things that you lay out so brilliantly that we're going to talk about, by the way, next Wednesday, October the 25th, when people sign up at Webinar with David. And it can be either one. I mean, you could go with Young and Handsome or Slender and Old. But either way, with both of us, webinarwithdavid.com will get you in there. You can't flip a switch and go, oh, look, I've got a passive revenue stream. And I'll tell you where this really hit home for me. So you know this because I posted inside the CAOC community about, oh my God, my first course, my first launch, it was fantastic. Doing live lead. Here's what I'm sitting there doing. This is back in 2013, 2014. It's okay. I'm doing an email campaign.
Right.
Organic outreach. I'm inviting some people in. I go to my Google Calendar and I start to put in week 1, week 2, week 3. I start to map out like the next 8 weeks. And I go, wait a second. I got to like week 3 and I said, I don't need to do that anymore.
That's right.
All I'm doing is I'm selling it and then they're getting into the course. And
it's already done for you. Right.
It was like, oh my God. My face was melting like in Indiana Jones, right? And I was like, I'm free. I'm literally free. I sell it. I market it. It's available. We launch it, right? There's a launch window, the launch methodology that you teach that's so brilliant, right? You open the cart, you let a whole bunch of people in, you close the cart, and then you go fishing.
That's right.
You go relax. You go do your whatever you want to do. But I was free. And that was an amazing, incredible feeling and an amazing insight that adopting this business model allows you to do.
Yeah, because what you're really doing is you're productizing you. Your product, you're turning David Newman into a product. Everyone that's watching this can turn yourself into a product, because if you think about it, and this is not a great way of thinking about it, but let's just put it out there, when I talk to a lot of people, of students of mine that have been successful, we find where their motivation came from or different things like that. There's a lot of people that are actually this is negative happened to them where they couldn't do what they were doing anymore. And I'm not saying it's to you, but I'm saying, for example, someone that was speaking 100 days a year, but got ill and couldn't do it. Now, how are they going to make money? Or someone that, great example, I've got 2 young kids, right? I've got a 2.5-year-old and I've got a 2-month-old, right? So we've got a lot going on over here. It would be very difficult if I was jumping on coaching calls at noon and 1 and 2 and 3. And so sometimes it takes negative, sometimes it takes positive, but you have to be thinking about how can you leverage yourself. I mean, perfect example, this morning, I know a lot of people, because I'm connected to a lot of coaches, speakers, I see a lot of people like, oh, I've got coaching calls all day. I've got my 6 calls. I've got this and that. Very, very busy. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad their business is doing well. What I did this morning was I went and played softball with my dad for like 4 hours. That's what I did this morning. And now I'm not saying that I'm not doing work. There's that old adage of like, oh, you just set it and forget. That's not what we're talking about here. There is work involved. But when you know what to do, you get to create your rules in your business. And whatever that is, if David wants to go have, Taco Tuesdays, which is one of our jokes we say all the time, and every Tuesday, well, now you're the new slimmer trimmer, David. I don't know if we'd have Kale Tuesdays with David, where you're going to go and sit there and eat kale for 24 hours. Okay, not recommended, but you could absolutely do that with a course model. With a lot of other models, no, because you're needed. And that's where this really comes in. And I think it's very important though to not confuse that with that old like cliche BS out there where it's like, just hit a button and the money comes in and you sit there. It's not like that, but it's again that you get to craft the business around the way that you want. If you also want to speak 200 days a week, 200 days a week, that'd be tough. 200 days a year on the road, you can absolutely do that too. It's not saying that you have to do it one way or another. It's just that now you get to dictate the rules. You're not on someone else's game plan.
Yes, absolutely right. And I know we've got lots of fabulous content when people tune into us in October the 25th. I keep wanting to do I want this to happen like this week. I want it now, but it's not this week. It's October 25th, webinarwithdavid.com. We're going to dive deep into this. But I will tell you one thing that makes me crazy, I know it makes you crazy also, is what you just said about this whole idea of passive income. Mm-hmm. That, we're just, David's playing basketball and I'm here eating my kale and it's just on autopilot. It is not on autopilot. So the magic of having a course in your toolkit, it is actively marketed, very actively, proactively, aggressively, and assertively marketed in everything that you do. And it's passively delivered.
Yeah, right.
The magic of this, can you take your foot off the marketing gas pedal? Hell no. You might be doing more marketing for your course, and you should be, than anything else you've ever done.
Yeah.
But passively delivered, oh my God, I cannot say enough good things. It can totally revolutionize your business model. It can totally revolutionize where you speak, why you speak, who you speak for. Because one of the things, David, that we talk about in our program all the time is I don't care if you get paid to speak. I care that you get paid because you speak.
Right. And this is a great example that every speaker should have this in their repertoire. And it's right. I mean, I remember I started speaking also back in when we met originally, like in 2008, 2009, and I had no idea what I was doing back then. And the funny thing is, if you look at that, every opportunity that I was out there in front of people was an opportunity to leverage my course and my products and my assets, but I didn't have them at the time, right? And so that, I think there's speakers right now that are maybe making, it could be anything, David. It could be they're making $50,000 a year. It could be $150,000. It could be $300,000. It could be more, but you're missing out on a ginormous addition to that by creating an online course. And I think that's where it's at. And it's funny that you mentioned that whole passive income and things like that. I do remember, it's funny, back in 2011, that's when my first course launched, which was a course on interviews. I'm doing online interviews because I did a podcast, as you know, for 5 years. And people are always asking about how do I do an interviews? How do I ask questions? What do I do? All this kind of stuff. So my first course was called Create Awesome Interviews. And I remember that I hit that button during the launch. I remember hitting that send button and I was terrified. I didn't know what was going to happen. I thought people were going to laugh. I had no idea. And I remember just kind of going up to my computer or iPhone. I can't remember what it was. And I just kind of like peeked through. And I remember seeing that first sale. And that moment will change your world. And I don't care what that amount is. It doesn't matter. The point is the idea that when structured correctly, you can productize yourself and your knowledge is a massive, not only confidence booster, where you can see what's possible, but the key on it, and this is why we're doing this training, David, which is going to be awesome. And I'm very excited. By the way, I'm coming back from Las Vegas the day before, so I'll have to report on any blackjack winnings or losings as we start the training.
Sure.
Far more important than that, or less important, depending on how you want to look at it, is that what you don't want to do with courses, and this is very important, you don't want to just go at it by yourself and try to figure it out. Unless you are a masochist. And
there's a million moving parts. I mean, let's be honest. There's
exactly.
Moving parts, from the thinking and the strategizing to the marketing and the launching and then the afterwards and the TVs. And I mean, so let me just do a quick commercial plug.
No, please, go for it.
Your course, Create Awesome Online Courses, is so incredibly complete. Everything from the first thought, from the very first time, maybe I should have a course, is to how to go through the launch process, the list building process, the joint ventures, the webinars, the technology. People that try and figure this out in a vacuum or on their own, They're lost at sea. They literally don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
They know a lot of things that they so people either overbuy or they underbuy. So I'll give you an example from my world. There's these platforms out there. There's nothing wrong with these big platforms, but I will tell you it's overkill. When you look at a platform like Lightspeed VT, right? Lightspeed VT, like mega, like $75,000 to get in. And they fly you out and they do the videos and there's all kinds of like interactive quizzes and, they throw all kinds of spaghetti at you. That's like, well, I'd like to drive a car and I'm going to go to the Maserati dealer to buy my first car.
Right.
Like, you don't need the Maserati, guys. Let's get you into a nice Lexus and have you make your first $100,000 or $200,000 on that. That's what this program is about when you go to webinarwithdavid.com.
Yeah, and that's what you hit the nail on the head. What people either do is they try to piece it together with 50 different sources, which then becomes a hot mess because who do you trust? Who do you know what's going on like that? And I remember that was a trouble when I was getting started is I wish I could learn from myself. Unfortunately, I didn't know myself at the time. So I was I would talk to people. I would try different things. I would do interviews. I'd hop on planes and go talk. I did all this stuff really so you don't have to. And I did it for my own benefit. That's why I was doing it. I wanted to do my own successful course. And only after I did successful course after successful course after successful course did people come to me and say, well, I want to do that. How do I create a course on whatever topic it is, right? And it's cool that now we've seen over 3,500 people go through Create Awesome Online Courses in nearly 100 countries. And I've also seen everything. I've seen all the pitfalls. I've seen where people get stuck. I see where a lot of things people overcomplicate, and there's a lot simpler path than a lot of people think of this. And they think that this is going to be you got to go rent this major studio, do this whole thing and this production and spend lots of money. You really don't have to. And I think we're going to break that down definitely during this training and of course in the Create Awesome Online Courses program as well. So that's a big misconception out there that it's going to be massively expensive and yada, yada, yada. And it does take effort. But knowing what to do is going to shave so much off your trial and error process. It's not even funny. Yeah.
Let's also talk about motivation because I always draw the analogy of writing a book. Yeah. Right? And how many speakers and consultants and coaches, I'm writing a book and I've written the first 3 chapters. And in our world, it's like, well, I've written my first 3 modules. And this is like 2 years ago, you wrote the first 3 modules. And then, they're still, it's like, this is about the motivation and the traction, not just the start, because a lot of people start writing a book. A lot of people start creating a course. It's about getting you over the finish line and all of the bits and parts and things that you need to do, the things that you need to have, a lot of things you don't need to do and don't need to have. And it's about getting over the finish line so you can stop saying, I'm working on my course. And you say, my course is finished. Right. My course is done. My course is ready for sale. I'm launching it next week. This is going to be fantastic. So let's talk about some of the obstacles of why do you think so many people leave the course kind of like unfinished? And again, not people in our program, but just people out there to meal it together.
Well, I think first and foremost, there's a certain breed of person, and that's not your people. It's not my people, but there's people out there that are like, it has to be done in 5 minutes and make $1 zillion. Otherwise, it's not worth it. Do you know what I'm saying? So the kind of the opportunity seeking, get rich quick, move on to the next. They're going to be moving on to the next thing. They're going to be trading Bitcoins or whatever it is, or whatever they're doing. They're going to move on to that. So anyone that can't stick with something at all is not going to be able to do it because you have to jump in and with effort. Okay. So you got to think about motivation. Now, of course, because we could talk tactical. Like I have a book here that I'm actually using as a microphone stand, which I wrote in 2010. So I understand the struggle of, I'm literally using it underneath my microphone right now. I've got 5 of them right here. And I understand the struggle. And it's funny with that one, I didn't have a choice because I had a publisher, right? And what did the publisher say? They said the book needs to be done on X date or no book, right? So what I did, I moved my BUTT and got my book done. And so that's a tactic is approaching it like that. Like you have a very, very important speech at 10 a.m. next Tuesday, because here's the thing, whether you like it or you're prepared or not, you're out on stage. Do you know what I'm saying? And so that's a tactic for getting it done. But from a bigger picture of looking at motivation, you have to be very, very honest with yourself about what you want out of it, and also understand that it could change over time. What you want out of it this year might be different than next year, and that's totally fine. And you got to also be honest. If you want to create a course just because you want to drive around in a fancy car and throw money into the streets and come out in a fancy suit, own it. I'm not telling you not to think that way. Like just know thyself. What gets you? If that gets you going, if you're like, yes, I'm going to come out and I'm going to throw money into the streets and bling bling and whatever, fine. If your motivation is something like, you know what, I've been on the road for this long, I'm never home, I want to attend my kids' soccer games now, I want to be able to go every Wednesday and take my kids and go to coffee or go with my wife or husband or whatever it might be, like, look at time as a motivation, right? Yeah. Is there something else, like a hobby or another thing that you would like to reclaim out of your past as another great motivation? Like if you're like, oh, I used to play tiddlywinks, but now I don't have time for tiddlywinks because of my current business model, I want to bring tiddlywinks back. You know what I mean? That's another key motivation. Another one, which is a no-brainer, but also very important, is do you want to obviously help people, right? Get results. That's what a course is all about. That's what this industry is all about. So you have to have a strong desire of wanting to help people get results, right? Another thing, and again, this could be anything, but it has to be strong enough that you want to continue. I mean, it could be there's so many across the board that we've seen. It could just be that like, hey, you want to, stick it to your sister who said you'll never finish anything. Do you know what I mean? I don't care if that's it. Yeah. Great, go with it. Put a photo of her up there and say, I'm going to get you, sis. This time I'm going to do this. So you have to know it, because you're right. This is one of the greatest things and one of the greatest challenges when you're, let's say, working from home, creating a product and things like that, is you have to stay motivated. And those are the people that are hungry, the people that have the vision, those are the ones that succeed, and of course have the tools and the strategy and know what to do.
Right. Exactly right. Well, and again, just as a point of proof, once you've done one course, which is a tremendous amount of work, like writing a book is a tremendous amount of work, but I've now, and again, we've kind of swung both sides of the pendulum, so let me explain the rest of this. I probably have 5 or 6 courses that I've developed and finished and are posted and are online and are for sale. But the mistake that I made is a little entrepreneurial ADD. And it's like, okay, dude, that's great. What's the flagship program?
Right. What are you known for?
In a program. And there are other programs that might be good and that I kind of experimented and dabbled. And I got the book program and the private coaching program and everything. But everything in my world is now about speaker. All roads lead to that speaker program. There's a fabulous mentoring program that is built around those speaker course modules. And that has been my livelihood every single day.
Amen.
For the last 3.5 years, because my business model evolved around this course.
Right. And you got to think about this is like, and for everyone that's watching this too and thinking about this, is that this is so, what David just said there is so vital. It's not even funny. And this was something that we worked on together to change your business and get even better than it already was. Yeah. And the funny thing is, you got to think about this. If someone's having an objective conversation about you, and if you don't know, ask them, ask some friends, ask some people, and say, what am I known for? Right? What you don't want is a list of things. You don't want here's what you don't want. You don't want a list of things. Well, David's known for helping speakers, monkeys. He occasionally works with a dog trainer here and there. He helps you write a book. He helps you write a thesis. And he is the master of teaching you how to move paper clips with your mind. Okay? That's not good. You don't want a whole mix of things like that. Number 2 is you also don't want, well, David's known for nothing. Right? Nothing's also no good at all. But that one thing, and if you look at that, and I'm a big believer, and you'll see this when you come on the training, I make things very simple as they possibly can be. And there's a lot of people out there that unfortunately love to do the opposite. They love to make it as much complicated and tricky and sneaky and whatever it might be. And I see this out there where people have 50 different things they're trying to get into, just like I said, the mind moving and this and that, and they end up failing. Now, if you look at my most successful students, David, you being, of course, one of them, I could just sit there. You could name them, and I could just say what they're known for. What's David Newman known for? Helping speakers, speaker marketing workshop, okay? What's Nick Stevenson known for? books, helping people write books and market books. What's Renee Christine known for? She's works with stay-at-home moms to sell their crafts online. You know, what is, here's a great one. Rachel Bowman, one of our students as well. What is she known for? Well, she's an aerialist. She does like the Cirque du Soleil with the silks up in the air. What is she known for? Training other aerialists how to do their little tricks and flips and stuff like that, okay? And so when you could get that down to a single point, a single sentence, you're in really, really good shape. And that's what, for me, that's courses now, right? And that's the way it's been for me since 2013, give or take. That's what I've worked hard on for my brand, where people know me as the course guy. And that's what you need to think about for everyone that's watching this, is like, what's that thing? It can't be all these things, right? And you got to choose. And that's very important. So I'm glad you brought that up, because too many people overlook that, and they say, well, I'll do my first course on this and I'll do my second course on that, and we'll be all over the place. And you know, that's one of the key things, is that once your course is done, once your course is launched, that's really where the fun begins. A lot of people think that's where it ends, and that's where I move on to my next shiny red object, whether it's a course or something else. No, there are so many things that you can do then to market, promote it, improve it, build your business, put it even more on autopilot, grow. I mean, there's so many different things that you do that if you look at a lot of the most successful people, they're just continuing to promote and market that main course over and over again to new people, to old people in different ways. There's a lot of different things you can do.
And what I love, and again, I learned this from you, because we were kind of, you know, I was Mr. Entrepreneurial ADD, and let's have 17 courses out there. You said, listen, flagship course, and then the operative question, and you and I kind of bat this back and forth with some different language, but what I took away from it is, look at those people, that core group, and ask yourself, what else do they need?
Right.
So in your case, they need course software.
Right.
In your case, they need websites and lead magnets. In your case, they need webinars. But course creators, right?
That's the center.
Creators.
Right.
Course creators is here. The flagship program is create awesome online courses. My core is around speakers.
And what else do speakers need? Well, they need a course.
What else do speakers need? Exactly. Right. So that has been depth with variety.
Right. You become this
all over the map.
Right. You become the center of the universe for a very specific type of person. That's what you want to be. Not for different types of people, but a specific types of person. And then specific person. And then you can have other things that all aim towards them. But you wouldn't believe how many people get that wrong. I mean, and it's just fascinating to me. But you won't. I'm talking to all you guys. You will not.
Right. They won't, because they're going to webinarwithdavid.com. But let's look at the already successful speaker, coach, consultant. Maybe the centerpiece of their world is a keynote speech. Yep. But now you ask, okay, every audience, what do they need? They need some ongoing source of repetition, reinforcement, and application. So if you had a course, wouldn't they buy it to extend the value of the keynote? If you're a coach and you're coaching someone for 90 days or 6 months, wouldn't you want to leave them with an evergreen, always-on asset where you got 50 coaching clients? That's 50 coaching clients plus 50 course sales. Because after you've left the building, the course is the repetition, reinforcement, application. We do a lot, David, with people who have sponsorship.
Right.
So sponsorship is like, if I'm a small business guy and I want to do work with Staples, because Staples wants more small business owners to come into the store, yes, you can do seminars. Yes, you can do an online kind of Q&A thing once in a while. But how about Staples buys 10,000 seats to your course?
Yeah.
And now when they're doing their fall promo, right, it's like courtesy of Staples is this super duper entrepreneurial program, branded with Staples, but it's a course. And now you're selling not onesies, not tensies, but you're selling literally hundreds or thousands of copies in a sponsorship arrangement. If you hadn't built the course, Staples couldn't have sponsored it.
Right. And you're basically extending your keynote without you needing to do anything else. So meaning like you're there, it goes beyond your 1 hour, 2 hour, whatever it might be. And now you're expanding into this whole realm of courses. And it's just, and that's what fires me up, is because I just feel like speakers are just speakers, coaches, consultants, are so well positioned for this, which gets me more excited than a lot of other people, because a lot of people here, and there might be some that don't, and that's totally fine. And we'll talk about this on the training as well. But most people, I feel like they're going to show up, mostly, and correct me if I'm wrong, you kind of have an idea of what you speak on, or what you write on, or what you coach on, and that's going to make life a lot easier. Now, you could come to me with no idea. That's totally fine. If you're like, I just don't know, or I haven't done a few things, that's okay. We can work with that. But it's always nice when someone's like, you know what? I do teach the cats to backflip. That's what I do. That's what I'm doing. How do we do that into a course? That makes life a lot easier.
Absolutely right. Well, final parting words of wisdom, anything we haven't touched on today that is very important for people to know about webinarwithdavid.com that you and I are doing together on October 25th.
Yeah, well, I think the key to think about with this, and like I said, I think I made that key point earlier, but it's worth reiterating, is that you just don't want to go at this alone, right? You don't want to go at this alone or try to piece it together, because it causes nothing but anguish. Because I've seen people come to me in like broken pieces. Do you know what I mean? They're like, well, I took this piece of information from here, this from there, this from that. I made these 792 mistakes. And I say to them, you know what? You're still going to make mistakes. Everyone's going to make mistakes. It happens to the best of us. But maybe instead of 792 mistakes, you make like 5. Do you know what I mean? That'd be a little bit of an improvement. So by coming to this training, we're going to be covering a lot of not only what to do, what also not to do. Right? Because that's equally important, because you might be thinking, well, I'm just going to do this. You might be off track. And so where I'm going to do is I'm going to pull from all my experience, which is now nearly, which is crazy to say these numbers, but is nearly $7 million in sales of online courses, and teaching now over 3,500 people. So we're speaking here, and David as well, from 100% experience. And I think that's very important. There's nothing like, well, I read that this is what you should do. No. We're talking about this stuff has been in the trenches, in the nitty gritty, seeing real people do this and succeed. And that's what we're going to be training. So it's just going to be a lot of fun. And I know from doing a couple things with you in the past, David, that Newman Nation is one of my absolute favorites, because I know people are going to bring great questions. I know people are going to be coming and having a lot of fun. And also, we're going to be doing a ginormously massive giveaway that's a secret as well. It's a secret, so don't tell anyone.
No one's going to watch this video. No one's going to get these emails. So it's just between you and me. It's a total secret. Your secret's safe.
But there will be a giveaway. There will be a massive giveaway.
I'm afraid. It's not my car, is it? Is it my dog? Who is it?
It might be a family member. We'll find out.
We'll find out. All right, buddy. I appreciate you. I'm so excited. Everyone right now, right here, needs to go to webinarwithdavid.com. That is the shortcut. That's the URL. Yes, I buy too many URLs. It's a problem. And we're going to have a fantastic time with 5 secrets.
2 Davids, 1 webinar.
2 Davids, 5 secrets, your online course. That's what we're dedicated and committed to your success, scaling your business, and being awesome. All right. Thank you, DSG. See you soon.
You never know when it actually goes off, because I'm sure it's still on. No, it still says recording. So it's like we're on, but I'm just going to wave.
It's just going to keep going. I'm going to find the button right. Wait for it. All right. Thank you, buddy. Bye-bye.
That's great.